Today, we travel to a country that was hunted, burned, divided, and erased again and again, but never forgotten. This is the real dark history of Poland. For over 1,000 years, Poland has stood as a crossroads, a battlefield, a prize caught between empires that wanted it dead. To the west, Germany. To the east, Russia. Both were titans of history, and both wanted the same thing: to make Poland disappear. The story of its erasure begins not with a bang, but with a pen. In 1772, the first partition of Poland began. There was no declaration of war, no epic battle for survival. It was cold, calculated, and clinical. Russia, Prussia, and Austria simply drew lines on a map, and Poland was sliced apart like a body on an operating table. With each signature, a piece of a sovereign nation was carved away. There was no mercy, just signatures, maps, and absolute betrayal. This wasn't a one-time act. It was a process. The second partition followed in 1793, and finally, by 1795, the third and final partition was complete. Poland was gone from the map of Europe. It ceased to exist as a political entity. No flag flew for it. No king ruled it. No country bore its name. For the empires that consumed it, Poland was finished, a problem solved, a territory absorbed. But you can erase a country from a map, you can tear down its borders, you can silence its government. What you cannot kill is its spirit. And so, while the world moved on, the Polish people remembered. For 123 years, there was no Poland, but there were millions of Poles. Generations grew up under foreign rule, speaking Polish in secret, whispering its poetry and songs behind closed doors. Children were taught a forbidden history, learning of their lost kingdom from parents and grandparents who refused to let the memory die. They gathered to pray in banned churches, their faith and language becoming symbols of defiance. The idea of Poland became more than a place. It became a promise, an identity burned into the soul of its people. It was a nation of the heart, waiting for its chance to be a nation of the world once more. That chance finally came. After the cataclysm of World War I redrew the map of Europe, Poland was reborn in 1918. A miracle, many called it. After more than a century of non-existence, the nation returned, resurrected from the ashes of 3 fallen empires. The joy was immeasurable. The future seemed bright. But this rebirth was fragile, and the peace was fleeting. It lasted only 21 years. In September 1939, the nightmare began again, but this time it was far darker. Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany invaded from the west, unleashing the Blitzkrieg, a new form of warfare that was swift, brutal, and overwhelming. The Polish army, though brave, was outmatched by the mechanized might of the Wehrmacht. Then, just 17 days later, as Poland was locked in a desperate struggle for its life, Joseph Stalin's Soviet Union invaded from the east. It was a secret pact, a deal between 2 dictators to once again carve up the country that stood between them. Poland was crushed, caught in a vice of totalitarianism. What followed was not just an occupation. It was a systematic attempt to obliterate a people. Millions were executed. The intellectual and cultural elite, professors, artists, priests, politicians, were specifically targeted for annihilation. In the dark forests of Katyn, a name that still sends a chill down the spine of every Pole, Soviet forces rounded up over 22,000 Polish military officers, police officers, and intelligentsia. They were shot one by one and buried in mass graves. It was a decapitation strike, an effort to remove the nation's leaders and thinkers, leaving the body politic unable to resist. Meanwhile, on the land controlled by the Nazis, a horror unprecedented in human history unfolded. The Nazis built their most infamous extermination camps on Polish soil: Auschwitz, Treblinka, Sobibor, Majdanek. These were not built for Poland, but inside Poland. They were factories of death, designed for the industrial-scale murder of millions of Jews from across Europe, as well as Poles, Roma, and others deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. Poland became the epicenter of the Holocaust. Entire cities, once vibrant centers of culture and life, were turned to ash. The Jewish population of Poland, one of the largest and oldest in the world, was virtually annihilated. Yet, even in this abyss of despair, the spirit of resistance refused to die. Yet, even in this abyss to die, even in this abyss of despair, the spirit of resistance refused to die. The spirit of resistance refused to die. In the summer of 1944, with the Soviet army approaching from the east, the Polish Home Army, the underground resistance launched the Warsaw Uprising. They believed that if they could liberate their own capital, they could greet the Soviets not as subjects to be liberated, but as masters of their own house. For 63 days, the people of Warsaw fought. Ordinary civilians, men, women, and even children fought German tanks with homemade bombs and stolen weapons. They fought from sewers, from ruins, from block to block, house to house. It was an act of incredible, desperate courage, and the world watched. The Western Allies, engaged on other fronts, offered little more than airdrops, most of which fell into German hands. The Soviets, who had the power to intervene, simply waited. They stopped their advance on the other side of the Vistula River, watching as the Nazis systematically crushed the uprising. They allowed the Polish resistance to be bled dry, eliminating a potential source of post-war opposition to their own plans. Nobody helped. When the uprising finally failed, Hitler's revenge was absolute. He ordered Warsaw to be destroyed. Not just defeated, but erased. German demolition squads moved through the city, block by block, street by street, and dynamited it into rubble. Churches were burned. Hospitals were liquidated, their patients and staff executed. Priceless cultural treasures were looted or incinerated. After 63 days of heroism, Warsaw became a ghost town, a sea of ruins. Over 85% of the city was destroyed. When the war ended, the world celebrated freedom. But for Poland, there was no freedom. Liberation from one tyrant meant occupation by another. The country did not become free. It became a prisoner. The Soviet Union, which had watched Warsaw burn, installed a communist puppet regime. The Iron Curtain fell, and Poland was trapped behind it. The next 4 decades were a long, gray period of oppression. Anyone who had fought in the non-communist resistance, anyone who spoke of a truly independent Poland, was a target. They were tortured in secret police basements, imprisoned in show trials, or simply vanished, becoming unpersons. Families lived in constant fear, afraid of their own neighbors, afraid that a wrong word spoken to the wrong person could destroy a life. A wrong thought, if suspected, could send you to a labor camp. It was a life of silence, shortages, and surveillance. The state controlled everything, the press, the schools, the economy, and yet, beneath the surface, the spirit of Poland endured. It was a shipyard worker from Gdańsk, Lech Wałęsa, and the solidarity movement he led that finally cracked the foundations of the regime. It was the Polish Pope, John Paul II, whose visits electrified the nation and reminded them of their strength and faith. The pressure built slowly, year after year, until finally, in 1989, the dam broke. Poland broke free. After 193 years of erasure, partition, occupation, war, and silence, Poland was finally, truly, its own master. This is a story of unimaginable suffering, but it is not a story of victimhood. Poland survived. Not because it was always the strongest, not because it always won its battles. It survived because it refused to die. It is a testament to the idea that a nation is more than just land and laws. It is memory, culture, faith, and an unbreakable will to exist. That is the story of Poland. A nation that was erased from the map, but never from the heart. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into history.